Hi friend, if you're looking for a productivity device that's easy on the eyes, has a solid battery, and comes in a portable and lightweight form factor, I may have found something interesting for you. This is the Viwoods AI Paper. It has a 10.6-inch, latest generation ink screen, and honestly, it may be the most undervalued device I've ever reviewed on this channel. I've been testing it for several weeks, and today I want to share everything I've discovered about this device, from the tech specs and display to detailed battery tests, the interface, performance, and how it handles reading and writing. Make sure you stick around till the end, because I will also tell you who I think this device is perfect for. But before we dive into all the details, let me give you a quick, in a nutshell, summary of what I think about the Viwoods AI Paper. This is an ultra thin and super lightweight device, making it one of the most portable 10.5-inch e-ink tablets right now. I can confidently say it's a great device, especially as a companion tool for professionals. The large screen is perfect for reviewing drawings, diagrams, and long documents without having to scroll too much or dealing with the eye strain. The clarity and contrast of the Carta 1300 display stays excellent even under bright light, which is fantastic for fieldwork. For reading, the AI Paper handles PDFs, EPUBs, and loads of other formats natively. Plus, you can run apps like Kindle or Kobo if that's what you prefer. The high-resolution display makes text look crisp and covers a large area. Just keep in mind there's no front light here, so you will need good ambient light when you're using it. I've also been impressed with the software updates. Viwoods has been improving the performance and adding new features over the past few months now, so everything feels more polished, and navigating the device and using all the features is reliable and intuitive. Personally, I use it mostly for handwritten notes, brainstorming sessions, and reading, and it handles all of it without any issues. Another thing I appreciate is how AI has been implemented on this device. I know not everyone may find it exciting, but I think you will be surprised how useful the AI can be for your tasks, meetings, and projects. Of course, the AI Paper does have a few downsides. It doesn't have a front light, so it's probably not the best choice for reading at night. There are also no built-in speakers, although you can connect it to external ones via Bluetooth. There's also no microSD slot for extra storage, and it doesn't have a gyroscope for automatically rotating the screen into landscape mode. Those are probably the main things to be aware of. Overall, if Viwoods keeps improving the software, and so far they're doing a great job at it, I think the AI Paper is honestly a dream device for focused professionals, students, writers, and readers. The mix of high-end e-ink hardware, the flexibility of Android, and helpful AI tools, in my opinion, make it well worth the price. And at $550 in the US or 479 euros in Europe, this is definitely a premium device, so it's fair to expect great quality, and I think the AI Paper really holds its ground. And by the way, if you're interested in getting this device, I've included all the links in the description where you can check most up-to-date prices. Those are affiliate links which don't cost you anything extra but help support my work and let me know this video was useful to you, so thanks so much for your support. With that out of the way, let's quickly go through the tech specs of the AI Paper. So inside this device we're dealing with a MediaTek MT8183 chip that runs 8 cores at 2 GHz. It comes with 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage, which leaves you with around 95 gigs of usable space. The battery is a 4100 mAh battery, which I think is excellent. I will talk more about the battery life and the tests that I've done later in the video, but so far it's been really impressive. The AI Paper comes with a 10.65-inch Carta 1300 Mobius display that has a very high resolution of 1920 by 2560 pixels, giving you 300 ppi. Honestly, it's an excellent display, and I will share more details about it later in the video. The device runs Android 13 in the background, and Viwoods has built its own launcher for it, which I found very intuitive and easy to learn. The Google Play Store is available, although it does require a few extra steps to get authorized with Google services. But everything is explained clearly in the settings, and within a few minutes I had no issues getting it set up and downloading third-party apps. The device also comes with a few apps already installed like Kindle, Kobo, OneNote, and Libby, so you can start using these right away. As mentioned earlier, the AI Paper has no gyroscope, so the screen doesn't auto-rotate. Also, there's no front light, so it's not really usable in dark environments. Are these deal breakers? Well, not in my world, but that's something you will have to decide for yourself. And hey, before we move on, if this video was helpful to you, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate your support. Now let's talk about the build quality and design of the AI paper. Overall, the build is solid with a little caveat. The back is made of plastic, but it doesn't pick up fingerprints easily, which is nice. It's surrounded by a metal edge that smoothly transitions into the plastic front. The front of the device is one solid surface with tiny bezels and a slightly bigger chin at the bottom to make room for 3 touch-sensitive buttons. I actually really like these buttons. You get a back button, a home button, which if you long press it brings up the task manager, and an AI button. When you long press the AI button, it records a 15-second voice message that gets transcribed and answered by AI. The device itself looks very elegant and doesn't have a cluttered design. Up top there's a power button that also works as a fingerprint reader, which is super handy. At the bottom you've got a charging port and a small LED to show the charging status. There are also 2 microphones on the front bottom edge, and in my experience they work really well and capture clear voice recordings. Now, one area where I think Viwoods may have gone a little too far is how thin this device is. At just 4.5mm, it's incredibly thin, which is impressive, but I also feel like they may have sacrificed a bit of sturdiness to achieve that. When I press on the corners of the device, I can feel it flex slightly, and there's a bit of creaking, which makes it feel less solid than some other ink devices I've tested. For example, with the Boox Note Max, even though it had a plastic back, it had a metal strip that gave it extra structural support and made it feel solid. With the AI paper, the back and front seem more separate and there's nothing visible inside to add that same level of support. Personally, I'd rather have a device that's a little thicker and heavier if it means it feels sturdier. But at the same time, I get the huge advantage of how lightweight and comfortable this is to hold for hours without any strain or discomfort. Also, it's worth mentioning the device comes with a protective case, which definitely adds to its durability. Speaking of the case, the AI paper includes a vinyl case with a soft suede inlay for extra protection. It has a rail that holds 2 extra pen tips and you can easily slide the device into place. The magnets in the case are strong, and during my testing the device never accidentally fell out. Now let's talk about the stylus. I think it's well built with a good weight that makes it comfortable to hold while writing. It has a pressure sensitive eraser on the opposite end, which erases a larger area the harder you press. You can also erase by pressing a button on the pen. One thing to note though is that you can't customize what that button does. I think that's a bit of a missed opportunity here, especially since there's already an eraser on the other end of the pen. I hope they will add more options for that in the future updates. The device comes with 5 extra pen tips, which I think is awesome. There are also 2 types of tips. You get a long-lasting one and a smooth writing one. I've tested both and my personal favorite is the smooth writing tip. The long-lasting one feels a bit more pointy and harder, kind of like writing with a ballpoint pen. But honestly, the writing experience is great with both. You can also buy a pack of 9 extra tips for $25, which works out to about $2.50 per tip. Overall, I'm honestly impressed with how well the AI paper presents itself. It's comfortable to use, has an elegant and modern look, comes with a generous amount of accessories like the stylus here and the protective case, and feels nicely finished. This thing is ready to be worked on, especially when you take a closer look at this beautiful display. And what we're dealing with here is the latest generation of ink display called Carta 1300 Mobius. It offers beautiful contrast and clarity and has an improved refresh rate compared to the older generation of Carta screens. The Mobius part of the name means it's a flexible ink screen. Of course, you're not going to be bending or flexing it while it's inside the device, but having a flexible screen like this does bring a few important benefits. First, because it doesn't use glass, it makes the screen lighter and thinner, and it's not as fragile as glass screens. I can easily imagine that a plastic display like this would be less likely to crack or fail if you accidentally drop the device or put it under a bit of stress. On top of that, the screen has a high resolution of 300 ppi, which makes the interface, images, text and graphics look sharp and clear. The content on the screen is honestly a pleasure to look at. There's also a contrast setting which is super handy. It lets you adjust the contrast if images or text appear a bit too dark, so you can get everything looking just right. But there's one big and important aspect we need to talk about, and that's the lack of a front light. Now, this is one of those things where some people will love it and some people definitely won't. Personally, during the day when I was using the device, I didn't really feel the need for a front light at all. The screen looks great in natural light or even under normal indoor lighting. If you're planning to read in bed at night and you have a bedside lamp, I think that may be enough for you to use the AI paper comfortably. But I will be honest, there were moments when I was reading in bed where I did miss having a built-in front light. It's just not quite as comfortable when you have to rely on external lighting, especially if the light angle isn't perfect or if you're trying not to disturb someone else in the room. So whether the lack of front light is a deal breaker really depends on how and where you plan to use the AI paper. Another thing I really like is the matte surface on the screen. It does a fantastic job mimicking the feel of traditional paper, giving just the right amount of resistance while writing. It's smooth but not slippery, which I really enjoy. Overall, I'd say the writing experience on the AI paper is really impressive. It feels natural, responsive, and it's genuinely enjoyable and fun to write on this device. Now let's talk about the battery life on this device. The AI paper comes with a 4100 mAh battery, and according to Viwoods, that should give you up to 1 week of daily use if you're using it for about 2 hours a day. And in my own testing, I'd agree with that statement. I was getting roughly between 5 and 7 days of daily usage, which is pretty solid for me. I also decided to run some more specific battery tests for both reading and writing. I set up 2 different scenarios. One was a low impact scenario with Wi-Fi off, Bluetooth off, and using the fast refresh mode. The other was a high impact scenario with Wi-Fi on, Bluetooth on, and using the quality refresh mode. For reading, in the low impact scenario with a page turn of every 20 seconds, I saw an average battery drain of about 1.5 to 2% per hour. In the high impact scenario, the number wasn't much different. I was getting around 2% per hour. And since there's no front light on the device, this is also the reason why the difference between those 2 scenarios was pretty small. Honestly, both numbers are great and show how efficient the whole setup is. For writing, whether I was in the low or high impact scenario, I again saw very similar results. The device used about 2% of battery for every 12 minutes of continuous writing, which works out to around 10% per hour. That's a very solid result across the board. It's not anything widely impressive, but it's consistent and reliable, and there's no weird battery drain happening in the background. Also, during my testing, even when I was using the device out in direct sunlight, I didn't experience any overheating at all. Now, I want to talk about the interface and performance of the AI paper. The AI paper's interface is clean, clear, and really easy to navigate. It's designed for productivity, and I love that all of the most important features are available right from the home screen. One thing I wish was different, and this was also something I mentioned when I reviewed the AI Paper Mini, is that I'd like the main screen to be more customizable. Right now there's no way to move things around or rearrange icons, it's basically set in stone. On the home screen you have quick access to features like Paper, which is for notes, Daily for your calendar and tasks, Meeting, which gives you dedicated notebooks for meetings, Learning, which is your PDF and book reader, and Picking, which is for managing your screen captures. There's also an apps section where you can launch any third-party apps you install. Along the sides there is a sidebar that duplicates all of these main features and adds even more, like Mailbox, the Viwoods community discussion and support, and of course your settings. So right from the home screen you have everything you need, and then some. One important detail that I think is worth mentioning is that navigating Viwoods devices feels easier and in my opinion more intuitive than on Boox devices. Boox offers an overwhelming amount of customization, which is great if you love tweaking every little detail, but with the AI paper you get enough customization for the things that matter. And while there may be some areas where you wish you could adjust a bit more, it's not a big deal because Viwoods has been releasing updates that continue to add new features and new capabilities. In terms of performance, if you use the fast or ultra fast refresh modes, the device responds quickly to your touches and switching between apps or navigating around feels snappy. You may occasionally run into a moment where it needs a second to load a page, but overall, knowing how ink technology works, I'm really impressed with this device. And I also have to give big thumbs up to the software stability. Throughout all my testing and while playing around with the device and different features, I haven't run into any glitches or crashes. Now I want to talk about some of the cool small and big features that I really enjoy on the AI paper. First up is the picking section. This lets me quickly pull up Viwoods tools on third-party apps like the Kindle app or a web browser. I can annotate on top of those apps, write notes, crop a part of the page and save everything directly into the picking section. This has been super handy for me when I'm researching something in a browser. I can quickly grab parts of the text, handwrite my thoughts and keep it all organized in one place inside pickings. Another small but really useful feature is the quick refresh gesture. You can simply swipe from the top left corner of the screen and it refreshes the display. It's a small thing, but it makes using the device feel faster and smoother. I also really like how the calendar section has been built and designed, making it very intuitive. In the 30-day view, I can actually draw or write little notes directly inside each day square. Additionally, when I tap on a day, I can add a task list, jot down some notes, link it to one of my paper notebooks, create events, and even connect the whole calendar to my Gmail or Outlook. Plus, there's also a button with 4 little squares in the top right corner that lets me switch to different views, so I can see all my tasks and notes for the entire month or just look at a week or a single day. And on top of that, if I hold down the plus icon in the top right corner, I can even record an event with my voice. Listen to this.
Create event for hiking up the Wicklow Mountains on 16th of July between 2 and 5 p.m.
Pretty handy, huh? Another feature I really appreciate is that I can lock individual notebooks or meetings with either an extra passcode or a fingerprint scan. Sometimes I have documents I don't want to be visible or accessible right away, and having that extra layer of protection is really nice. I'm also a big fan of the 3 touch-sensitive buttons at the bottom, so we've got the Back, Home and AI. These may sound like small things, but when they work well, they make the device feel powerful and give you quick access to so many features right from the first screen. Another thing I like is having the search right there on the home screen neatly tucked away. Now it does have some limitations. It doesn't search through your handwritten notes or typed text inside documents. But it does a good job searching file names and tags, which is still pretty useful. And finally, one of my favorite things is just how many ways there are to import books and files onto the AI paper. You can transfer files via Bluetooth or use the V-Transfer app with a QR code, or do a Wi-Fi transfer by typing an IP address into your browser, which is probably my favorite way to move books from my laptop these days. You can also connect to cloud platforms like OneDrive and Google Drive and transfer files this way too. All of these features together make the AI paper really versatile and powerful device. Now let's talk about the pricing. On their website, Viwoods has it on a sale for $549 in the US and 478 euros in Europe. Honestly, it feels like Viwoods is trying to make the sale price look like a big discount, but if I'm being honest, I think $549 should be their standard price. And if you find it for even less than that, then I believe it's a great deal worth considering. The bundle includes the tablet, the stylus, a protective case and 5 spare pen tips. All you need to get started. One thing I want to applaud Viwoods for is their 100-day risk-free return policy and a 14 months warranty. That kind of buyer protection is something I've only really seen from Remarkable before, so it's great to see up here as well. Now, if you're wondering about the competitors, the closest one in my mind is the Boox 10.3-inch model with the previous generation Carta 1200 display. It currently sells for around $410 in the US or 420 euros in Europe. Another option is the Supernote Manta, which has a 10.7-inch display with the same Mobius Carta 1300 screen that the AI paper uses. The Supernote is more expensive though, selling for about $669 in the US or 711 euros in Europe, and that price includes the pen and cover. So yeah, it's quite a bit steeper, but overall I think the AI paper's pricing puts it solidly in the premium category, but with that sale price and the features it offers, I think it's a strong contender. And again, if you're thinking about getting one, please consider using the affiliate links I've included in the description. Once again, appreciate your support. So with all that out of the way, who exactly is the AI paper for? I'd say this device is ideal for students and professionals who need a dedicated tool for note-taking, reading, and keeping track of tasks and schedules. It's great if you're someone who wants everything organized in one place without getting pulled into distractions. It's also perfect for anyone looking for a distraction-free environment to focus on work or study. Another big plus is for people who love the tactile feel of writing on paper, but still want the digital benefits like having the AI tools to help organize and summarize notes, and the flexibility to install apps and sync it with the cloud. It really bridges that gap between traditional paper and modern technology. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What's your take on the Viwoods AI paper? Would you be okay using a device like this without the front light? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. And if you want to support my work even further, you can buy me a coffee, become a YouTube member like all those awesome folks right here, or use the affiliate links in the description. But that's not all. If you'd like to learn more about the AI paper's smaller brother, the AI paper mini, check out the video right here. And if you're looking for something around the same size but with a color display, I'd recommend checking out the Boox Note Air 4C. My review is right here. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!